Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And I had a friend this time send me a link to this video about a week ago. I'm just not getting around to covering it. But apparently, AlphaDestiny, aka Alexander Leonidas, aka Grimly the Dwarf, well, apparently the Dwarf Lord has decided to film himself doing 2-inch range of motion bench press lockouts with a SlingShot on. Damn. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. I'm going to try to be as nice as possible during this video. I know a lot of his fangirls are going to come in, they're going to click the dislike. You guys better stop and realize something. Most of you guys who are following his stuff, what you need to understand, you start listening. Look, you guys who are his fangirls, watch the comments down below. Those of you out there who bought his programs, who comment in the videos of mine, who are regular followers of mine, who bought one of his programs and they didn't work, go ahead and post below for his fangirls to see. Because I get a lot of that every time. There's people I know who I've met now who followed his stuff. It didn't get them results. They didn't make the gains they thought they would make on things like Naturally Enhanced, and they come over here and now they're making gains. And I don't charge for programs. They're free. But this is the sort of silly shit that I give Alex a hard time over, right? This is the kind of silly shit. And people need to understand, I don't disagree with everything the guy says. In fact, very large amounts of what he says he took from my channel originally. And you know what? I borrowed that material from many great coaches out there, right? I borrowed that material from many great coaches and great lifters over the years. That's where I get my material. That is most of my source material. The problem is that he doesn't understand the stuff. He'll take a lot of what I do. In fact, he quoted me in Naturally Enhanced, things that he put in his intro to the book. A lot of them are direct quotes of lines I've said in videos, because he used to be my biggest fan. If you guys go back and check, his followers, go back and check. He used to comment 5 years ago, 6 years ago. He posted comments in my videos every day. He was one of my #1 fans. We started having a falling out when he started promoting these silly-ass partials and not training his legs, right? That is when we got a problem, because that's stupidity. And these partials, we're falling right back over to the sheer stupidity. This is what shows me that this guy is not functioning at a high level intellectually. He isn't. He doesn't have critical thinking skills because he keeps pushing silly shit like partials, even though, as he said in the video, what does he say? Well, I know these don't have very much scientific support. You think they don't have very much scientific support? That's a nice way to put it. You mean the science has shown when they've studied it, they produce less gains in strength and less gains in muscle mass? Is that what you mean? In other words, when it's studied on a squat or a bench press or anything else, those who come all the way down and come back up compared to those who do half reps with a heavier weight, half reps with a heavier weight. Let me state that again. Those who do half reps with a heavier weight than they can touch their chest with gain less muscle and less strength on the bench press. So his strategies to do stuff is to use a protocol all the time, whether it's these above the knee rack pulls, now this bench stuff, that has been shown repeatedly to gain less muscle and less strength. And I understand he's talking about progressive range of motion. I get that. I'm familiar with Bob Peoples. We all know the story of in the backyard, the big heavy overhead press with chains hung in a tree, right? We know this story. Anyone who's well read on the history of training knows that the guy would do standing presses with chains suspended in a tree, and he would lower the chains an inch every week until he could come down and he could touch and do a full range of motion overhead press. But if Strap-On legitimately thinks that he's going to use the same weights he can't even do the lockouts with, and that he's going to just progressively lower it, and all of a sudden he's going to have a 450-pound bench press off of his chest, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Not going to work at all. Maybe if he's doing some full range of motion stuff and he put a weight that was only, I don't know, 10 pounds more than his max. Because he's at a point now in the game to where gains aren't going to come fast. He's not going to put 50 pounds on his bench in a year. He needs to be looking at stuff like, can I put 10 pounds on my bench this year? Right? That's the sort of numbers he needs to be looking at with his training age now, where his upper body lifts are. That'll be considered a success. So maybe he could do something like that. But you know what? It really isn't that great of a method. The whole idea there is to just get used to handling the heavier weight. You don't use it exclusively. You use it in conjunction. You don't use it to start your bench workout. You do something like that at the end. And again, it's controversial. I still am not a fan. So what's going to end up happening with this silly shit, he's going to end up blowing a pec. Furthermore, why is he calling these quarter bench? Does he honestly think he's doing an entire quarter of his range of motion? He's moving the bar like 3 inches. You're telling me his press is only 12 inches down to his chest? All right, if he's telling us that his range of motion on a normal bench press is it 12 inches? If that's how short it is, he needs to be honest about his height. He's a freaking midget. He's a dwarf if that's the case. He really is the dwarf lord. He would be shorter than even I claim he is, because a 12-inch range of motion bench, that's pretty short unless you're doing some crazy arching or you have some stumpy little dwarf arms. That's the only way. Wow. I need to measure my range of motion on my bench one day. I bet you mine is 30 inches. We're going to compare bench strokes, right? We don't need to do that. But that's not quarter reps. That's less than quarter reps. Number 2, he's wearing a SlingShot. And he's like, this protects the shoulder. Again, you're dealing with someone who doesn't even know what they're talking about. And I'm surprised his fans don't get it. They don't get it. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Does anyone know why a SlingShot can be helpful for a complete noob, someone who's completely new to the gym? Why is it a training tool? Because I'm not a fan of the SlingShots either. Yes, I have owned one. Why does it help with your shoulders? Because it forces elbow tuck at the bottom. Because when you get to the bottom, it pulls your elbows in. It forces you to learn to tuck, and it teaches you that you have to press lower on the chest, because when it starts pulling your elbows in, it brings the bar down to your lower chest, and you tuck like this. It forces you to learn to tuck and to bench lower on your chest. Right? Why does it matter? Well, because that's one of the things that we do to prevent shoulders. It doesn't do that at the lockout. He's doing up here. It's not helping. It's not doing anything. What in the hell is he doing? The SlingShot isn't doing anything. It has no purpose whatsoever at the range of motion he's using it at. And that's the point I make. That's the sort of silly, stupid, ignorant shit that he does, and then markets it. And then people follow it. And you know what? That's what I'm going to say. You know what, Strap-on? Keep doing this silly stuff. And keep trying to do your progressive lowering of the bar and don't do any full range of motion. And let's see what happens to your pec tendons. That's going to be interesting to behold. He's gotten away with a lot of dumb shit because he's like 21. Right? He's gotten away with a lot of dumb shit because he's 21. Keep doing this kind of silly shit for the next couple of years. You're going to be out of the game. That'll be the end of you. You're going to follow the way of Jerry Ward. Do you guys not remember what just happened to Jerry Ward? Yeah, we discussed that. I discussed Jerry's training, of how Jerry's training led up to where he tears all these muscles and tears pecs. Go back over to what you're seeing here and think about that. That's why Jerry tore both of his pecs first time he tried to do a bench press in a few years. Tore both of them. Tore both pecs on the same rep. Had to have surgery. You know, and here's what I think. I think I'm going to make a prediction here that Strap-on's next exercise that he's going to promote is going to be the above the neck rack pull. The above the neck rack pull. That's what he's going to do next. I called it already. Wait for it. Why don't you guys go over there, everyone who finishes the end of this video, go over to his comment section and ask him when he's going to implement the above the neck rack pull. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.
Because there's not much science supporting it, if you will. I can't really call these weights impressive because, you know, it's quarter reps and all that. Because there's not much science supporting it, if you will. I can't really call these weights impressive because, you know, it's quarter reps and all that. Because there's not much science supporting it, if you will. I can't really call these weights impressive because, you know, it's quarter reps and all that, because there's not much science supporting it, if you will.